lover was killed by police. Trump without Secret Service protection for Kamala Harris. Back home in Nigeria, NLC demands 150,000 naira minimum wage for Lagos workers. U.S. moves to shorten student journalist visa validity in Nigeria. Kwankwaso using the NNPC's name to make negotiations. Politician accuses. Thank you for staying with us. The news begins with this development where hundreds of workers today poured into the streets of Accra, Ghana's capital, calling for the cancellation of Africa's ballooning debt. Ghana, Africa's leading gold producer and the world's second largest cocoa exporter, is only now starting to recover from one of its worst economic crises in decades, which included a 2022 debt default and inflation that at one point exceeded 50%. The protest, led by Ghana's Trade Union Congress and backed by the International Trade Union Confederation Africa, called for a radical overhaul of the global debt system, which unions say is suffocating Africa's economic prospects. The West African country's external debt stood in March at $28.5 billion, or more than a quarter of its economic output. In Accra, protesters wearing red and black tops danced to loud music blaring from speakers of the economy. The police response to the protest drew strong criticism after videos circulated on social media showing a black tactical vehicle running over a man. President Prabowo Subianto urged calm today, promising an investigation into the death of gig motorcycle driver Afan Kuniawan. But angry Indonesians massed hours later outside the paramilitary police unit they blame for Afan Kuniawan's death, throwing firecrackers at its headquarters in Jakarta. While hundreds watched and waving Indonesian flags, a group of protesters tried to tear down the headquarter gates of the unit known for its heavy-handed tactics and successfully pulled a Factional national chairman of the New Nigerian People's Party, Agbo Major, has accused former Kano Governor Abiyu Kwankwaso of using the party's name to make comments that might cause Thank you for staying with our judgments, and that all withheld allocations be released directly into the accounts of the duly elected councils. It also warns a perpetual injunction restraining future seizures. My analyst this evening on the World News at 6 is Barrister Darlington Agumore. Barrister Darlington Agumore, good evening, and thank you for joining us today on the World News at 6. Barrister Darlington,
how are you?
I am fine. Good evening. Thank you for joining me today on the World News. How are you, sir?
I'm okay.
All right. Barrister Darlington, let's start with the withheld funds in Osun State. They have actually sued President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the federal government, the AGF, to court as well concerning the fact that the allocations have been withheld. There are accusations that the government is tyrannical and that they don't understand why there is subjugation and why the funds and allocation has not been released. They also called the withholding of the statutory allocations due to the 30 local government councils since March 2025 as unlawful. Do you think this is a political maneuver? What exactly could be the problem in Osun State?
Esther, what is going on in Osun is an aberration. Seriously. These same presidents have refused to recognize court judgments. It's very unfortunate. This is not what democracy is all about. It did not even state on what ground, because the court validated that election. So on what ground now did he now on his own decided to withdraw their funds? There is no ground. I thank the governor for going to court. Let us see what the court will say. As every state will just wake up and create their own local government. By now, would I have up to 3,000 local government and 74? It would have been up to 3,000 plus. Because every state would have followed suit to create local government. So, you should not compare it. You should not.
Okay.
I will advise him to pay these people the amount before the court will embarrass him.
All right, Barrister Darlington, the Nigerian Labour Congress is asking other states, including Lagos, to increase the salaries of government workers. For example, we know that in Imo State, they increased their minimum wage for civil servants from 76,000 naira to 104,000 naira, while in Ebonyi State, the government raised its workers' minimum wage from 70,000 naira to 90,000 naira. Now, in this particular regard, however, what stands is for Lagos. They say Lagos State is giving their government workers 85,000, and NLC is asking that they should increase it to 150,000. They are citing the rising cost of living and recent wage increases in Imo and Ebonyi State. And one of the reasons to also talk about is that the workers in Lagos deserve an upward review, which is in line with the state's higher cost of accommodation, transportation, feeding, and utilities. What's your take on that?
Look, it is not about increasing minimum wage.
Okay.
Esther, the more this minimum wage is increased, the more inflation will set in. I don't know whether Adero and the people are looking at it from that angle. You can imagine when it was 30,000 naira minimum wage, and now that it's 70. If you ask me, the time this thing was 30,000 naira is better for workers. I'm telling you, go and check. Inflation, the more you continue to increase this minimum wage, the more inflation will be eating it off. There's no way the economy can cope. You know, they proposed 250,000 naira. How could this economy accommodate 250,000 naira minimum wage? There would have been a problem by now. A bag of rice would have gotten up to 300,000 extra. That's the truth. A bag of rice would have been up to 300,000 by now. So what is the essence of the minimum wage? They should be talking of a good economy. Let the prices of goods and services come down. That is what they should be talking about. They should be telling Tinubu, return us to pre-2015, when you people hijacked this government and this economy and threw it to the dogs. Return us there. If you don't want to do it, it's not about increases. I don't support this increase because it is causing inflation more and more. That's the truth.
All right. Okay. So thank you very much for that. Let's move on to the situation with Kwankwaso. All right. We have heard different narratives concerning Kwankwaso. We've heard that there's a possibility of Kwankwaso merging with Peter Obi or Peter Obi merging with the NNPP. We really don't know precisely. These are the era for political permutations and a lot of strategies either being unraveled or being kept in secret. So your opponent do not have an upper hand, over you. But a particular Agbo major is accusing the former governor, Rabiu Kwankwaso, of using the party's name to make comments that might cause unrest in the country. Okay, he made a statement recently that Kwankwaso said the NNPP is open to alliances in 2027. So he says that while Kwankwaso and his Kwankwasia movement continue to claim leadership of the party, that the national executive insists that the memorandum of understanding with the movement ended after the 2023 general elections. But I read somewhere where Kwankwaso said that he's not the owner of NNPP. All right, he's not the owner of that political party, but it doesn't mean that he's not open to negotiations or alliances, meaning that he's open for talks to align with anybody who has an intention ahead of 2027. So it all depends on what proposal is presented to him, how it benefits him, and what he will take. If you recall, immediately after the INEC declared President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a president in 2023, a year after, there were talks about major coalition. I recall at the time, Professor Pat Utomi made a statement saying that all those in opposition should come together and form a major coalition. Kwankwaso at the time said that if he wasn't considered as the person who will be the flag bearer of whatever coalition was coming up, then he would not be interested. He will not be into it. So what do you think this means for Kwankwaso, for the Kwankwaso movement? We heard talks initially that the APC were really speaking with him to join them, ideally to have his state, because he has the supposed strong pull on his region, on his state. How do you think this will affect Kwankwaso as a political brand, and how do you think this will affect the NNPP?
Look, Kwankwaso should not be overblowing his ego.
Okay.
He is always thinking too high of himself. Meanwhile, it is only in Kano that this man has supporters. It's only in Kano. What was his vote in the last general election, 2023? What was his vote? 1 million plus. Is that what is making him to blow off another? Is it not?
Sir, how is Kwankwaso blowing off? Sir, he says that he's not the owner of NNPP. There were reports that he was making statements on behalf of NNPP. He clarified that he's not the owner of NNPP, but does not mean that he, as an individual, who is also a politician who contested in 2023, is not open to talks or alliances.
Esther, when these people make statements, it is left for some of us to analyze it and interrogate it. What is he supposed to say? If truly what he said is what he meant, he should have told them to come to and talk to the political party where he belongs. Yes, they cannot be talking to you, and then you say you are the owner. What does that mean? If he's serious, and if you have told them, look, the party that I belong to is open to discussion. In that case, you are not including your party, because it is the party that made you. You didn't make yourself. You can see now. That statement he made, is he working on his own? Then why is he a member of NNPP? So, that thing he said, he didn't get it right. He was just speaking from both sides of his mouth. Besides, I don't see him being any beautiful bride to any political party. He should not be, he should not be thinking of somebody coming to woo him and all that. He should look at his performance in the last general election. That performance, is it worthy for him to be courted? What is he bringing to the table? Only Kano State. Only Kano State. It's not enough. It's not enough. He should not be waiting for people to talk to him and all that. He had better make alliances. He should be the one take people to accommodate him, because he's not a political force when you come to numbers. Let him slow down. All the time he was going to Osun to talk to Tinubu. What came out of it? I'm sure he was making demand that Tinubu cannot accept. That's all.
You can never tell. This is still 2025. We still have next year coming. So if the NNPP acts in a certain way that he's not comfortable with, there's a possibility that he may align with the APC or align with the president, because actually the North in Kano, they need the North, they need Kano. So any important person that can deliver the KKK states for the APC, I think they would rally behind that person. They would want to, supposedly seduce the person to join the party.
If Kwankwaso is a political force, he would have made a more political capital from Kano State. He would have made more political capital from Kano State. He cannot just be resting on his words. He has only Kano. So what has he done with the Kano that, and if not for the, for the mistake of that judgment, they would have lost Kano State. Yes, it was that mistake. That mistake they made when they were writing the judgment and somebody had to expose it. That's what gave them Kano. If not, they would have lost it. So I don't see what he has to bring to the table for him to be making demands and giving conditions that if he's not the flag bearer of any coalition, he will not join. On what ground?
All right, President. Finally, because of time, Adeoju was vituperating earlier today in a Monitor television program. You remember that Peter Obi sued him and said that he should retract some of the defamatory statements and slanderous comments he has made about him unprovoked. That is, DJ Adeoju has called Peter Obi names and unprovoked. Well, the thing a couple of persons will say, this politicians who are very popular should expect all of this on their personality, just like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been called all forms of names and all whatnot. He hasn't decided to stifle anyone or sue anyone. When you have a number of Nigerians who criticize him on a daily basis, they say it's part of politics. But the Adeoju says Peter Obi should do his worst and called him several names. He says he hobnobs with criminal structures. He called him a political fraud, called him a political prostitute. He's parading himself as a messiah, and that after saying that he would never leave ABGA, but now he has left ABGA to PDP, from PDP to Labour Party, and he's hobnobbing with certain elements that he supposedly is against. He talked about the toxicity of the obedient movement, and obviously said let him do his worst. He doesn't care. How do you react to this?
That is very unfortunate. 2 years ago, only a few months ago, Adeoju was for Peter Obi. He was saying all the nice things in favor of Peter Obi. All of a sudden,
not this year. Not this year. Throughout this year, I don't think he's ever made it. Not this year, sir. Not this year. He hasn't made any positive comment this year.
I said in the past.
Way back 2022, yes. 2022, thereabout, before the election.
So what changed? Exactly, what changed?
I don't know.
What changed? Apparently, what they were expecting Peter Obi to do, he had not done it. The money he was expecting, he didn't get it.
He claimed that Peter Obi tried to give him money and he declined. He said he's not that kind of person. So he did not attribute money to the situation. He said he cannot be bought. I think his main grouse is that the obedient movement insulted his wife, I think, and that's what he's saying is the issue for him.
Esther, please, let's not look at this in this way, Esther. Look at it this way. What is the guarantee that the person that insulted his wife are obedient people? Please, even at that, how does that concern Peter Obi? If Peter Obi monitoring everybody speaking for him on social media and all that, people just to talk as if they are talking to food. Why can he be talking like this? Please, is there any evidence that Peter Obi instructed his followers to insult his wife? Is there any evidence? It could be NPC people causing this problem for Peter Obi here and there. So why would Adeoju take it out on Peter Obi? On what ground? Is there any evidence that Peter Obi even know all the people that are following him on social media? Is there any evidence? This was exactly what Ole Sheka said the other time, and we were calling them fascists. I have told you, you see the social media, there is nothing you cannot see or hear from there. Don't take it to the bank. There is no way Peter Obi will allow anybody to insult anybody on his behalf. He is not enough to speak for himself. So why would you now use what people said against you as coming from Peter Obi? It's wrong. Very, very wrong. I expected that they need to know better. Okay, I can't attack the people directly, and then if you want to go to court against those people, since you can identify them and their tweets. Take it to the court now, instead of insulting Peter Obi. You know, the only reason why these things are going on, as I told you, any iron that is not hot, all manner of things will take there. I cannot see any fly touching on a hot iron. It has never happened. They are taking advantage of Peter Obi's gentility and peaceful nature. Not like the Igbos. I mean, if Peter Obi had been a very aggressive person and he had talks following him and all that, look, it will be difficult for him to receive such insults. Very, very difficult. That's the truth. So I think you should be very, very careful. You shouldn't be talking like this. That they insulted you. What kind of talk is that? It's not even P2B. You say it's the movement. That means you don't even understand how this is work. You don't talk anyhow. Unfortunately, P2B doesn't have a spokesperson. Who can give it to him back to back?
Well, he has some spokespersons. He has Dr. Mo. He has Yunus Atanko, who is director of the Obedient Movement. This person sometimes comes, tweet on his behalf, react on his behalf, make statements on his behalf.
His work, what Yunus is doing is different from the role a spokesperson is supposed to be playing. Like some of the attacks that P2B is receiving, somebody should be there to counter it. But before you even finish speaking, the person would have replied you 3 times. That is what I'm talking about. Like this saying, as you said it now. At least the way we countered it this evening, is that not the right thing to tell him? That's what I'm expecting from people this process. There's no way he can take that into court and succeed. That to this obedient movement. Is there any time where they heard meeting that people attack Adeodi for me, attack his family, attack his wife?
A couple of people think that he's just trying to become well talked about, use P2B to rise to fame, sort of engender some form of attraction from the government of the day, despite him criticizing the APC publicly that he could literally be looking or exchange for their service. He usually aligns with Omoyele Sowore, but lately they've not really been aligning together, and so maybe he needs something to research his person or his career, and seem to be someone who supposedly has some tactics when it comes to political maneuvers and political strategy. There were also talks that or some accusations that he had a situation way back in the UK and the US for a murder-related case, and it was Festus Keyamo who actually helped him out at the time. A couple of all these issues came up concerning his personality. He had also campaigned to be the secretary of the People's Democratic Party too. There were talks that before he went into activism, he also wanted to be a politician. Maybe that did not work, and then he went into activism. So a couple of people think all of what he has been doing has always been for the media front, the media facade, not necessarily being dedicated or committed to whatever endeavor or activism he's all about.
You remember that Charlie Boy was with this guy. It was this guy that made Charlie Boy to relocate to the southeast. This same man, it was him, over money. Meanwhile, he said that he wanted to give him money, and he doesn't want money. But it was what money? It was money that separated him from Charlie Boy. It was money. So why all these pretense, Esther? Why all these pretense? You think he's very clever. He's not clever. He's not clever. The last time I checked, he's not an active lawyer. He's not practicing. So where is he getting his source of funds? Where is he getting his money? If not that he's being sponsored by some people. Where is he getting his money? Look, you see this thing they are doing to Sowore, that the IGP want to know his bank account. The money that is going in there, they're going out. They will do it to Adeodi. Each is not taking. If he continues to run his mouth the way he's running, they will probe him to know what is behind him and where he's getting his source of funds. That's the truth. Because when people come out, they'll be acting like a later day human rights activists. Meanwhile, they are pursuing their selfish interests. If you want to shine, not with P2B, you should not be insulting him. Esther, I can't even see where the information comes from. You just woke up and start talking. Obedient movement insulted. Why can't you insult them back? Insult them back instead of insulting people because he's quiet and gentle. Is that not true? If people have a thought behind him, of course, those thoughts will come after you by now. Yes, because that is how Nigerian politics has gotten to now. Most politicians, they have people who are doing their dirty job.
Well, Barrister Darlington, there are talks that when People's Gazette came up with the leaked audio between P2B and the bishop, that he said he was going to sue People's Gazette for that, considering that he called it blackmail or scandal or libel against his person, that audio that leaked wasn't true from People's Gazette, and that up till now he did not sue them. A couple of people feel that the open declaration against DJ Adeoji to retract all the libelous statements he has made, that he may not pursue it to court because he had not pursued the one with People's Gazette. Do you think that we may have a similar situation, that it may not get to court, or Peter Obi may just pursue it, or everything just dies down and nothing happens?
I remember when Rubadu threatened that he go to court against Aisha Yusuf for exposing all he said against Tinubu. Rubadu denied it and threatened he would go to court. Up to today, did he go to court? Some of us are even begging him, please go to court, so that more evidence will come out. I analyzed it, and I added to what he did. So what are you saying? Look, this is where I would expect to be, not to talk or reply to these people. These people that have been making, yes.
So somebody comes out and calls you all sorts of names unprovoked. Calls you. Did you listen to the interview today, Barrister Darlington? It felt like somebody who hates somebody. I know it's politics, but should politics be involved? Should there be sentiments to politics?
You don't get it. I said, if P2B have a spokesperson, who will be taking this bullet for him, it will be a bit better. I can't remember when people replied to anybody. I can't remember. Because his processes are all over the place. Firing from all cylinder. This is what I said P2B to do. Like this is not that happen. He's not supposed to talk or threaten anybody. It is successful. So that you not doing anything directly to him. That is what I said him to do. I have said it severally. How many times did he have Tinubu replying anybody or exchanging words with anybody? How many times? Even the ones that are very obvious and very fast, he will not talk. Those who will reply are there. So what are you to be the same? Because by the time it was not to say you go to court, how many courts will you go to?
Well, Deji sounds confident. He said he has evidence against him. So let's see if Deji refuses to retract his statement, then let the matter go to court. And Peter Obi should prove that what Deji said is untrue, because he made a couple of statements. I would play the recording during the evening rush. You recall that, what's his name? Asari Dokubo made such a statement before by calling Peter Obi a drug carrier, that there's a woman in Peru or something who is languishing in prison on his behalf for carrying drugs. And I think you suggested that Peter Obi should sue Asari Dokubo for coming up with such a libelous, untrue statement. It was Reno Omokri who took it upon himself to investigate that allegation from Asari Dokubo, and he found out that what Asari Dokubo said was complete lies and untrue. And Reno Omokri came out to say, in as much as I don't support Obi, or that he doesn't want Obi to become a president, all that Asari Dokubo said were basic lies, that he contacted the prison in Peru, contacted all of them, and none of such ever happened. So do you think it's the same thing here, where people eschew lies, propaganda, malicious, fake statements against an individual and has no backing, but they say it boldly and confidently? Do you think that this is one of such instances?
Exactly, that's what I'm telling you. Imagine if Omokre did not come out. Everybody knows that Omokre.
But Asari Dokubo did not apologize after he made such a statement that is false and malicious on his Facebook page, despite Reno telling him that what he said was not true. So again, it seems like this is a trend in politics. I don't know if it's just in this part of the world or it's the world over, where every form of machinery is applied to dent the other person's image.
Esther,
sir, I'm listening
let
to
me
you.
tell you a proverb.
Okay, sir.
Do you know the proverb of the dog and the goat?
No, sir, please tell me.
A dog was in a compound. Whenever anything passed, the dog would be backing and backing and backing. You know, rattle everybody within the street and within the area. And then when the thing became too much, the goat now told the dog and said, come, you see this thing you are backing like this. I've been here before you. And then, you know, the dog would tell the goat to shut up. That don't you know that if not that I'm backing like this, they would have used me to do offering in the church. I mean, have you seen anybody taking a dog to church for offering? Have you seen it? It's always the goat, the fowl. That is That is the structure of life. Please, how many times has Atiku been assaulted by any of these people? I mean Atiku, Rufai, Peter, what's his name? Amechi. With all the damage these people are carrying, how many times have they been insulted like to be dead? That's it. The same thing is, Jonathan suffered the same thing because he was in gentility. It's not true. Jonathan suffered the same thing. So it's not a trend. It is as you make your bed, so shall you lie on it. I have told you, Esther, I am not a gentleman who good people are in Atom Cemetery. That's where they are. When it comes to Nigerian politics, if you're a good boy, you will suffer a lot of what? Insults. That was why they killed Jesus Christ, because he was so quiet, so gentle. Even being have the power. He said, don't compare yourself with Jesus Christ. So, because his mission was cut out for him. Don't compare yourself with Jesus Christ. If you are going to succeed with these people, you need to flex your muscle. That's the truth.
But my question is that you think that there are certain persons who have made bold and false statements against him. He did not sue them. That how come he's now suing DJ Adeyonju? Because if you had listened to Asari Dokubo's live, how I think I played it on this platform, he categorically stated that Peter Obi sent a lady to ferry drugs abroad and it led to her arrest and incarceration in Peru. Okay, he made it so he said the ladies languishing on Peter Obi's behalf, that it was even Peter Obi's brother that was running the franchise for him. Now, Reno Mokri had to debunk that allegation and said that it wasn't true. It's false.
You have said it before. Listen, it is because, hold on, you know why?
Why?
There was such a thing. It is not as I did that will come up with it. APC, they would have dug up these debts before now. Are you telling me? They would have got it up. Remember when the passport issue came up in Heathrow Airport? When
he was delayed for a couple of hours, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That was prior to the 2023 elections.
Exactly. You saw what they did. At the end of the day, the person that was fingered was an APC person. And they told the people to take action. They ignored them. So, what I'm telling you is that if P2B has such a budget, it would have come up before now. They would have dug up everything about him. They tried everything they could to check his administration in Francis. They couldn't find anything. So they are just digging up debt here and there. And that is because P2B doesn't have a spokesperson. They are talking of people attacking, biggest attacking them. Imagine. This one that you are attacking people to be, I'm not talking about it. But when some people now who are now being loyal to him, who see him as their mentor and all that, when they now want to protect their owner, their own, you start making noise. The insult you are giving him now, and what you claim they told you, is it the same thing? Is it the same thing that they all do? So when these people are talking, the complete to be, they have seen him finish. He's not a very aggressive person. He's not assertive. They now took advantage of him. Going into 2023, you will see more. They will insult him more and more, Esther. I'm telling you. So the earlier he keep quiet, the better. Instead of threatening him, how many courts will he go to? How many courts are Esther? How many? That's the only reason I say you should keep quiet. But there's no need to answer them. There's no need. Whatever they say, let it be so. It's as simple as that. Just the same way Tinubu has been keeping quiet. Even with Tinubu, look at all the baggage Tinubu is carrying, Esther. From Chicago to CIA to FBI. Have you seen Tinubu one day answering anybody? He did not keep quiet over those things.
But some people say that if he doesn't say anything, it could pass off to be true.
So American government, why can't Tinubu see them? Why is he fighting that they should not release his record in US? So why is he fighting that the court should not release his record? If it is clean, is that not the end of the matter? If you have a good record, you will be the one to release it. You don't wait, but you are fighting very hard that that record should not be made public. What was the reason? Tyranny, if the record is clean, why can't you allow the court to release it? So telling me that there's nothing is a lie. There is something there. There is something there, sir.
All right. Barrister Darlington, thank you so much for giving us your take on the world news at 6. I simply do appreciate your input.
It's my pleasure.
All right. And that's a wrap on the world news at 6 right here in Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wajuku. Living Rush comes up very soon. Do stay with us.